One of the most interesting abduction cases is that of the American Lee Haley, who has 2 university degrees, one of them in pedagogics. She worked as a university lecturer until she was dismissed because of her UFO contacts. She's written a book about her experiences entitled Lost Was the Key, in which a special strange feature are officials wearing military uniforms.
I've had experiences with many different types of alien creatures, going all the way back to my childhood. One of the main ones I've encountered is what I call a chalky-colored creature, in that it's the color of off-white chalk, an off-white color. It's about 4 to 5 feet tall. It doesn't have any hair. It has huge black eyes, no pupils, no whites, no ears, no hair. All of the creatures look alike. I can't tell whether each one is a male or a female. They all look identical. These creatures have taken me aboard the craft. The method they use to get me aboard their craft is some kind of light, like a beam of light. And I find myself in this energy force that looks like a light field, and the next thing I know, I'm aboard their craft. These creatures perform medical experiments on me. They are extracting ova from me. They scrape tissue samples. They seem to be making a hybrid race. I've also seen aboard their craft the products of what they're doing with their genetic experimentation. I've seen fetuses lying suspended in transparent containers, and the containers are also suspended. I've seen nothing holding them up. Inside the containers lies a little hybrid-looking baby that looks part human, part alien. For the last couple of years, I've also been receiving telepathic communications from some external source. I don't know where the telepathic messages are coming from, but I've been receiving many of these telepathic communications since May of 1991. And here are some examples of what I've been told telepathically. I have been taught that time is not linear. The message I received was that time is no more linear than the earth is flat, that time can overlap, that time can be contracted, expanded, that there's more than one dimension that can overlap. And actually, time in the way that we use it is non-existent. I was told that it's really space that's important, not time. I was told that all kinds of geological problems are going to occur all over the world, things such as earthquakes, tornadoes, floods, all sorts of things of that nature, and that it's going to be quite serious. I was not given a time frame other than I was told it was going to happen soon, but of course I don't know what soon means. I was shown a vision in my mind of everything on earth being brown. Brown sky, brown water, brown dead trees, brown vegetation that was dead, and was given a vision of a family crawling on their hands and knees after some sort of horrible destruction occurred, and I could tell that the family was dying. They were trying to get to the water, which was very brown, but I knew that if they ever made it to the water, once they drank it, they would die anyway. I knew that this family was doomed. That vision was very upsetting to me. I don't know what it means, other than I felt that it has something to do with some sort of disaster that's going to occur. I believe that that's why I was shown that vision.
I'm not going to talk very long because I spent an hour and a half talking earlier today, so I'm just going to say a few brief things. Mainly, my name is Leah Haley. I'm from Mississippi. I've had abduction encounters throughout my entire life, but I didn't remember them really until 1990. I've been abducted by various types of creatures, I call them. Different people have different names for them. I also have been abducted by military and or government people. I know there's a debate among investigators as to whether these things are really people or not. They're people. I was there. I know they're people. A lot of people have trouble buying that, but that's what happened. Mainly what I'm going to say right now is a result of questions that I've been receiving all day. One question that I've encountered is, why did I lose my job in relation to this phenomenon? I was teaching in an accounting course at the Air Force Base. Those who heard me earlier know that I encountered some problems with the Air Force. Another thing I didn't mention earlier, because I had a time problem. I had to leave out some things I originally had intended to say, so I'll make up a few of them right now. One thing that I didn't emphasize earlier today because of the time was the fact that when the Air Force officer invited me out to the Air Force Base to see the space shuttle, he insisted that I bring my camera so I could take some real good close-up pictures of the shuttle. He kept telling me over and over again, be sure to bring your camera. He also insisted that I not tell anybody, not even my husband, that I was invited to come out. This invitation was extended to me alone. Well, after that, I refused to teach another accounting course on base. And there is no way I will ever voluntarily step foot on an Air Force base again. And that's when I lost my job. My boss said, why won't you teach at the base anymore? And I made the mistake of telling her. And she wouldn't budge and I wouldn't budge. So I didn't quit. I said, I won't quit, but I won't teach on base either. So I was fired. Another thing that I wanted to point out was that, you saw the circular marks on my back and a mark on Buddy Crumley's arm and on Bill's hand. And I mentioned that Bill couldn't undergo hypnosis. He had real good reasons not to undergo hypnosis, and that John Carpenter did a regression on me concerning my marks, and I had no memory whatsoever, none, of how those marks got there. Buddy Crumley recently had a regression done on him too, and he remembered struggling, but he did not remember who or what he was struggling with. There was no memory whatsoever of who or what did it. We're at a loss there. I know George Wingfield mentioned last night that there were several others who had an identical mark. Well, when we started investigating, we discovered that the only marks that we confirmed were similar marks, not identical. We've only been able to confirm the three of us as having that same exact mark. So we request that if any of you investigators, abductees, other members of the audience, if you have seen or had a mark exactly like ours and know how it got there, please let us know. We want to know who put those marks or what put those marks on us. None of us have any idea. It's a mystery that we would really like solved. We're not interested in knowing about similar marks now. I've had similar marks and I know how they got there. It's the exact marks that we're interested in. And I'm going to allow you the use of the rest of my time for questions. There was just one period of time where I had trouble falling asleep at night, and that was from July 8, 1990, when I discovered the possibility of having had these encounters, and the first set of hypnosis sessions. in March of 1991. It was more the fear of the unknown than anything else. Once I discovered what the creatures really were doing to me, and that I was brought back safely and all of that, I was no longer afraid to go to sleep. It was just the period of time between my realization that these things possibly could be real and the hypnosis sessions that I had trouble going to sleep. But I didn't have trouble after I went through regression. I have two daughters. One's 19 and the other's 16. Before I went to Springfield for my first set of hypnosis sessions, I had to give them some kind of an explanation as to why I was going. I didn't really quite know what to say without telling a lie because, it seemed so absurd. So what I told them was that my brother and I had seen what we believed to be a spaceship when we were children, and I was going to Springfield to find out if that really was a spaceship or not. My older daughter said, "Mom, whatever you find out, I don't ever want to hear about it." And I respected that, and we've not discussed it. She's overheard me talking on the phone from time to time, and she's made it evident by slamming doors and things like that she didn't quite approve of my conversations, and I've had to be deal with that in a real delicate manner and try to respect her need to not be involved in this. I'm not trying to shove it on anybody. My younger daughter wanted to know everything that I found out, and when I tried to kind of sugarcoat things, and she just wouldn't allow that. She wanted to know specifics, details, etc. I've always been a firm believer in when a child asks you a question, if they're ready to ask it, they're ready for the answer. And so if she comes to me and asks me a question, I answer it the best that I can. I'm not certain that either of them has had experiences, but I tend to believe that they both have. My older one, when she was younger, about 2 or 3, 4 years old, wouldn't go out in the backyard. It had a chain link fence on it, but she wouldn't go out there by herself because she was afraid of strangers. And I didn't know what that meant, but now I wonder. The younger one has had dreams that she's told me about that seem to closely parallel the ones that I had that turned out to be real encounters. And, she's had dreams of being in a force field that was taking her out of the house, and she was struggling and screaming for me, and I wouldn't respond, she said. And she said that she had a dream in which she and I both were aboard the craft, and I was in another room doing she didn't know what, but while I was in the other room, one of these alien creatures that she described as being exactly like the one you saw a picture of, and she had not seen my picture either at that point in time, but she told me that this alien was showing her a model of the spacecraft and explaining the propulsion system to her. She's the type of person that would understand that kind of thing. So I don't make an effort to discuss this with her, but if she comes to me and feels the need to discuss it, then I will. I've tried to present it all in as much a positive light as possible to minimize her fear. I wanted to add that, of course, I didn't have enough time to get into everything this morning, but I've encountered a variety of what I call creatures, and the majority of my encounters have been extremely positive, but I have had a few that were negative, and I'm sorry, but I just don't see how you can interpret a reptilian rape as something positive. And, yeah, you know, I've just had both, and when somebody asks me that question, I'll tell them honestly that some of them have been positive, some of them have been negative. I'm not so sure that this is subjectiveness on my part. I feel like that they were really positive in some instances and really negative in others. I try to deal with it the best that I can and try to help my daughters with it the best that I can, but we can't, I don't believe, categorize them all as, you know, all good or all bad. I think that it's important that we realize that we have both. I wish that I could say that we all up here experienced only positive encounters and that they were all supposed to help us grow, but unfortunately that's not the case with me. I may not have another opportunity to say this, but I just wanted to thank all of you researchers, investigators, directors of organizations, whoever you are, whatever it is that you're doing to help us. I think on behalf of all abductees, I can say that we really sincerely appreciate all the time, all the money that you're devoting to help us out, and we really do appreciate it.
Ditto.